Thank you. To keep your best employees, prepare them to leave. Wait, what? Yes. Support them and engage with them in ways that you can elevate their personal brand. You can help them manage more skills, upskill. You can help them advance in their career. And getting back to personal brand, yes, elevate their personal brand. What I mean by that is if you knew what everyone in your organization was the best at, they would be more likely aligned with the right role. And what I'm going to talk about today is, as a workplace futurist, I've studied how people do and don't respond to change. I interviewed 120 people, and I found the one thing that makes the difference to help people flex with change, both individuals and organizations. And it's agility. It's workforce agility, organizational agility, and individual career agility. In interviewing 120 people and also conducting primary research, survey research, I also found out that there's an agility scale. And we all fall on this spectrum. On one side, it's steadfast. I would also call it sometimes stubborn or stagnant. And on the other side, the other extreme is agility. What we're going to talk about today, I'm going to give you two agility moves that you can implement today so that you can respond better to the technology change and all the change that is happening in our lives right now. With 3% and 3.7% unemployment, we've got to be really adaptable. So this is the first agility move, is adapt to change. It might sound a little obvious, but a lot of people dig in their heels and they don't adapt to change. Stepping in here, can anybody in this room tell me what these braces are? Just scream it out. Forrest Gump, right. And extra points. Does anyone know why he wore these braces? Okay. It's actually what the doctor said to Mrs. Gump was, Mrs. Gump, your boy has a spine that is as crooked as a politician's. He wore it for scoliosis, curvature of the spine. And I know something about this because it took something for him to adapt to his circumstances in that movie. I, too, had scoliosis when I was 12 and a half years old. I wore a brace from the top of my chin all the way down to my hips. That's what my curvature looked like. I wore that brace not just for 30 days, not just for 60 days, not just for 90 days. I wore that brace for 3.5 years. All those things I was looking forward to in high school, all the dances and the football games and the sports, I could not participate in them. But I had one thing that I could participate in. But before that, I was stuck. How many people in this room have ever been stuck? Please raise your hand. Me too. And when you're stuck, you can ignore things or you can just take it and move forward. And I realized that I had one thing I could work. I might not have been able to move. I might not have been able to be physically agile, but I had my brain. And I felt like I had mental mobility. And I started hanging out with some kids that were serious about studying. So we pretty much had our pick of colleges by the time that I finished high school. So that was something that I had control over in adapting. The lesson here is adapt or die. It's a little Darwinian here, but it's adapt or die. It's really no choice. The second one, respond to change. This is a Kubler-Ross change curve. She's also known for the grieving process curve. And there's things like denial, anger, depression, anything but moving forward. And eventually, adapting. And in today's technology world, where the star is at in this diagram, it's about integrating technology into our world. It's here. It's here in all forms of AI and virtual reality and all kinds of things that haven't even been invented yet. Introducing how a person, an individual with career agility, can react in their workplace and the workplace. The adaptable educator, Colleen Cannon-Rufo. When she started her career, computers were just being introduced into the classroom. She was 10 to 15 years younger than anybody else in the entire organization of the district that she worked at. They had computer labs back then. No one was using them. She integrated them. She was a Spanish teacher. The worst students that were failing started excelling in her class because she made it real. She connected them to Spain. She connected them to Mexico online, and projects, and PowerPoint, and digital presentations. And what she also did, she ended up taking over a role in the district, one of the very first instructional technologists in the Naperville School District. And she's now working on her PhD, figuring out how robotics are used with children that are about this high and how children learn. And she spends some of her summers working with Lego. Lego has a whole technology branch. It's not just all the bricks that we think of them. So technology is invading everything. The point here is when technology comes into your life and any change comes into your life, don't do nothing. It could be a good change, it could be a bad change, it could be a setback. Just like when I was wearing my brace. It's like adapting to that kind of change. Don't do nothing. There's a career agility model. I'm not going to spend time doing it, but I've explained a couple of the agility moves, but there's actually 7 agility moves in there. So to summarize, 2 agility moves. When technology is advancing at such a rapid pace, adapt to it, embrace it, love it. Don't get stuck in it. And if you are stuck, take the time to grieve, take the time to be a little bit depressed, and move beyond it. And the second one is, don't do nothing. Do you remember when Forrest Gump was being chased by all of those bullies, those boys? Do you remember what he did? He ran and he broke the braces off. He was constricted for several years. Huge setback. But we all know what he was dreaming about. And Jenny was telling him to run, right? So this is what it looks like. And I related to this movie so much because when you have a setback in life and you can't move and you don't have agility, you know what happens? You start dreaming of everything that you can do, and you form a mental attitude that anything is possible with movement and mobility and agility. Thank you.